What's up? I'm Ayla.
This is Let's Talk BL, a boys love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It is Sunday series, Sunday, that day of the week where we talk all things one series and one series only. And we're going to jump right into this because this is the second time we've done this.
Cheers. Here's the thing. We went to Thailand. We did all the things in person. We came back and we're like, oh gosh, how do we do this?
No, we did everything right. It truly was just like an equipment malfunction. We did everything right.
It's true. We're on location again, just not in Thailand.
Just not in Thailand. And that's what makes everything about this
so sad.
So much worse.
But we're taking a trip back to our youth.
Sure.
Because we're drinking wine coolers.
I mean, this wasn't actually of my youth, but it was of your youth. So I'll allow it.
Smirnoff was truly the drink of choice in my youth, but Mike's Hard was what I remember cleaning out of the pool gutters when I was a wee lifeguard at 15 years old.
Yeah.
So this brings me back to memories. Really, any wine cooler, because that I feel like that's the youth's choice. We didn't know how to mix drinks.
I mean, yeah, not of my youth. Again, like my youth, we were a different breed.
What was your drink of choice as a youth?
So flavored vodkas of all kinds were very popular. Everyone always managed to get their hands on those.
Nice.
And when I would,
is that what you had at parties? Was there like a fishbowl situation or like a punch bowl situation? Like, how does that even?
That's so unsanitary.
I guess like I'm thinking of like those like cheesy prom movies.
What are you like? Yeah. What? Wait, what era are you from? You're making punch in a bowl with some ice.
Then you spike it with some.
You from the 50s? How old are you?
You're pouring it into individual cups.
Right? We've got a ladle or whatever. Like,
listen,
you're putting like, I don't know, like floating fruit or something. Everyone's wearing a poodle skirt.
Yeah. I was a sock hop dancer for Halloween one year.
For Halloween,
yeah.
Not just in your youth.
Listen, I have always wanted a pair of saddle shoes. I've told you this, I think. I've always wanted a pair of saddle shoes, and you can buy them, of course, on Amazon, but like, I just don't feel like it's my style. I've just always wanted a pair. Do you even know what saddle shoes are?
Yeah.
Okay.
When I was in elementary school, we had to have like 50s day.
Cute.
And so, you like your mom made, like my mom made the poodle skirt and you did all the stuff. Yeah.
What color poodle skirt did you have?
Truly, I don't know. Probably pink.
Mine was pink.
Probably pink. Like if I'm guessing.
Anyways, we're talking about youth.
We are.
And about our youth.
We are, truly.
Okay, nuts and bolts. It's 8 episodes, which is far too short. Too few episodes.
I don't know if it was too short. I actually like the length of it because it makes it an easy one. There wasn't anything about this story where I was like, I need more episodes.
I would like a season 2. Like, I felt like this wrapped up nicely.
I was gonna say, I thought it wrapped up so well. Like, it left me wanting for nothing.
It wrapped up very well and left me with all the warm fuzzies. I would just love to see more of these characters. Like, I'd like to see what college looks like for them. Like, that would be, what if we got we have about youth and we have about college age and then we have about middle age.
Wait, you go from college to middle age?
I feel middle-aged right now.
My God.
Anyways, it's on Gaga Ooh La La, and it was, fun fact, directed by the director who directed a couple of different histories, but most importantly, Make Our Days Count.
I'm triggered. I'm leaving. I have to go.
Which is why we get that fun little cameo.
Right.
Yes. Okay, it stars. Y'all, forgive me. I have not taken Chinese lessons. Chinese names are hard.
Chinese names are hard.
Okay, it is the character.
Just say it. Just say the names. Just say them.
Yuji Gung, played by Shin Jun. We have Yi Gong, played by Lee Zin Hao. We have Ray Ray. Please, bless you, Ray Ray.
Ray Ray.
Played by, how do you pronounce H-U-S-U? Shu? Sure. Shou Ting. And then Ah Jian, Played by good old Andy Hong.
Andy Hong.
Thank you, Andy.
Okay, synopsis time.
You get to say the Chinese names now.
Yeah. Ye Guang is an elite popular high school student with good grades. Unbeknownst to his peers, quiet, unnoticeable Zhu Zhang is a guitarist and singer who transforms when he sets foot on stage. The two boys have very different backgrounds and values, but when they compete in the election for student president, it seems there may be more attraction than animosity between the rivals.
I don't like this synopsis.
I don't dislike it. It's not as bad as some.
There's no animosity. There's zero animosity between these two.
I think that though there's a setup as though there should be, right? Because the student president, like the student council, whatever election, is mentioned, and it is set up like a few times that like his parents want him to win, and that there's like pressure on him to win. Like he doesn't actually care, but like there's pressure on him to win, right?
Yeah.
And like we get this with like his whole like storyline.
I do love that this president election pops up randomly, so like they consistently keep it throughout the entire show,
right?
And it pops up especially when the brother of the girl who's confessed to Yi Gang is like, you can't date my sister, and he's like, bro, I don't want to date your sister. Right. And so it's really funny because then he decides to run, and so that's kind of how it gets reintroduced, because when Yuji Gung goes to Yi Gang and is like, they become like little friends, and he's like, I want to run for president because it's going to pay for my college, and he's like, yeah, I don't care.
Right. He's like, I don't care, but like it's set up that like,
he's like, but my dad really wants me to.
Right. Yeah, so like I think the setup is that like there should be animosity between them, and so like that, and it is like the sort of the like cornerstone thing of like that's what adds not the conflict but like gets them talking essentially, right? Like so it actually is like a part of, I think you just saw the word animosity and you were like, no.
Well, it says that like it seems there may be more attraction than animosity, and I was like, but there's no animosity.
Well, because it's set up that there should be, because they are competing,
right? Because then we find out that Yuji Gung is like head over heels for this boy, and has been since like that moment that he handed his umbrella to him in the rain,
right?
Which, you know what I love about that
so
umbrella?
That's what they're saying is like you're gonna find out that there's actually attraction and not animosity. So I actually think the synopsis does a decent job.
Do you know what I love about that umbrella is that it's an About Youth umbrella. It's like the show umbrella because you see the little About Youth title, and I was like, I want that merch. If this was GMMTV,
we'd be able to buy it for sure.
About Youth.
Has anyone tried to buy it though? Like, can you buy it? Is there merch? Did you actually look it up?
I didn't. Maybe there is.
Maybe there is.
I want an umbrella. We should go to Taiwan and get an umbrella. That's what.
Yeah, that's why we go to Taiwan. That's the reason. I must go to Taiwan to get a new umbrella. Yes,
an About Youth umbrella specifically. This show truly left me such warm fuzzies inside. Yeah, I finished this show and was like, I understand why people said it was so good. At first, I was like, everybody said it was so good and they really loved it, but they didn't explain why.
No one ever explained why. Because, and like, so my problem not problem, but like, I really went into this show with like sort of a blank slate. And I truly was like, I don't know what to expect. And like, it made me go into this show being like, surely it's not actually very good, because no one could explain why it was good or why I should like it, right? Because like shows like Bad Buddy, for example, people write paragraphs.
Yes.
I could write you a book about You're My Sky, Jude My Kachang Fa, and why it's perfect, right? Like
truly, Torn is the most complex and fascinating character you've ever met.
All six of them, six of the characters, and so like I have attempted to explain to everyone at length about why You're My Sky, Jude My Kachang Fa is the best show ever made.
Yeah.
But with About Youth, nobody ever even tried to say why it was good. They were just like, it's good.
And perhaps because the more that I think about this show and the more that I've rewatched half of it once, is that perhaps it's because you get so warm and fuzzy, and there is so much depth to each character, but the storyline is pretty simplistic that like there, like, it takes you a while to be like, oh my gosh, I really related to that character, or I really saw the like depth of these two characters, or like there's just so much to it, and like it's so
but I
down to
feel
earth
like
and relatable.
there's not so much to it, and that's what I like about it. So like, if I were telling people that you should watch the show because it's good, I wouldn't just say, I love this show, it's so good. What I would say is, what sets this show apart and makes it so good is how authentic it is. Like, it feels like a real experience with real emotions that actual high schoolers could be feeling. Because that's the problem with a lot of high school dramas, is like, it's so, because we've all been in high school, right? Like, we have all, regardless of whether you're that age right now or you were that age 20 years ago, right? Like, you have had those feelings, and so as just like a human being that has been that age, what a realistic, at least, range of emotions is, right? Because of course from country to country your experience is going to vary, and so like so many of these high school dramas are so unrealistic. Like, it doesn't feel like, oh, this is a story that could actually happen to
There's
someone,
nothing grounding it,
right? Or that could actually like happen to my peers, or that like I, either I could experience or someone I know could experience. Versus like with About Youth, I think the reason that there's no other reason to explain why you like it other than it made you feel good, and it made you feel good because it felt like a real story that had a happy ending.
Yeah, and truly, like the diversity of just the 4 characters that we get, there's so much to each story that you can kind of find your own relatability in each one, because you do have the boy who like lost his dad at a young age and like has really tried to work hard to like kind of make it in the world, and then you have this like really wealthy kid who's like trying to figure out who he is, and like the contrast of like the main couple is just it's fun to watch, because there could be this like this animosity just based on like who they are,
right,
and there isn't, because I think each of them understands, and like they kind of have a connection on a deeper level that like allows for, the one who's from the wealthier family that's trying to figure things out, like he's having his moment of crisis, and then when the other one has his moment of crisis, like the other one is there for him, and like there's this dynamic that kind of they shift back and forth of like no one's ever really going through bad times alone, but sometimes you're going through them at a separate time than another person, but like everyone can kind of relate to everyone, because we've all had those moments where we're like, this is the end of the world, and like this is a really hard time, and like I just need someone to understand that like this is really hard for me. And they are able to be there for each other in ways that like they don't know what each other's going through, like right, like they didn't experience what the other did, but they're like, I know what it means when times are hard,
right,
and they're understanding to each other in that regard, and I think that's really sweet.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, again, it's like a nice show with a happy ending that feels like a realistic happy ending, and I really like that. And I think that it's also just like very well shot. Like, it's just done well. I mean, you can always count on Taiwanese dramas. Like, they're done well. They're just done well, regardless of whether or not you like the stories. And I think potentially that's why I was so happy watching this, is that like recently the couple of other Taiwanese dramas that I have watched or tried to watch, like the story wasn't there for me, and that's disappointing to me, because that I really expect that from Taiwanese dramas, whether or not it's fair. Like, I expect them to have solid storylines. Like, that's what I know Taiwanese dramas for. And like I just haven't felt that from the past couple ones that I've watched or tried to watch. And so when like I saw that here, that like this was really strong, I really enjoyed it. And I think that like there are a few shots in particular that are just like done really well. So like the scene in the rain, like it's just like it's shot really well. Like it's framed really well. Like it's put together really well. It also, of course, is like performed very well by the actors. Like the actors do such a good job with that scene.
Casting in Taiwanese shows is pretty much the one consistency.
Right.
Every single show casts these characters. And honestly, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like every Taiwanese show has had the chemistry between the two main actors. Whether it's a super spicy show or it has no spice like this one, I fully am engaged with this couple because like you don't need spice to make me believe. Like I want to just believe that they want to kiss. I don't need to see them kiss. And so it's nice to see that chemistry, especially between the two leads in this one, between Yuji Gung and Yi Gang. There's a moment where we love an ointment scene.
Yes, we love ointment action. Always.
Where Sweet Yi Gang has gone to be Yuji Gung's knight in shining armor, as you do. Shout out Bonus, who is our sweet Earth Angel.
Yes. Okay. If there's ever been an Earth Angel in this world, it is Bonus. It is truly Bonus Tanadek. There's never been an Earth Angel that is more of an Earth Angel, because there are a few Earth Angels in this world, but this is like, we're talking about like the archangel of Earth Angels, this Bonus Tanadek.
Yi Gang gives him a run for his money.
I disagree. No one gives Bonus a run for his money.
Because when Yuji Gung's drunk uncle is harassing him, he comes to his rescue, even though he's a frail, sweet rich boy who cannot put up a fight, and he gets knocked to the ground. And then Ji Gung has to take care of Yi Gung.
Do you think that Bonus could fight somebody's drunk uncle?
Ooh. I think so.
You think so? I don't know. Bonus is so just like...
Bonus gives 110% so nice. Always. So like,
I
feel like
give 1,000,000% at all times.
I would trust Bonus with my life. 100%. Yeah.
I would give Bonus my life, whether or not I like trust that he would like protect it.
I believe Bonus would take a bullet for me.
I believe that Bonus would try his. I believe that Bonus would try his best to protect my life. Now, whether or not that would actually work, that's a different question.
So it's sweet because then they have to rub ointment on each other and like take care of each other's wounds. And there's this moment, this probably more than like their sweet little kiss at the end. This moment was the moment where I was like this is like, I now kiss, but like, don't kiss. Like, I don't need to see you kiss. And because like, just like he's showing a little shoulder.
Oh my God.
And just the chemistry between these two, like the eye contact, they have some like close looks at each other.
The longing looks
throughout this entire show that I'm like, I'm entranced. Like, it's a moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, like I just want to watch these two boys look at each other. I mean, that's the epitome of ship work, right? Like, that's what we see, especially with the tie, where they like go on these appearances and they just like look at each other. And I'm like, yeah. If you have chemistry, if I believe that you want to do the thing with them, you don't actually have to do it, And so I think that's what's cool about these like pure shows, right? Like if you watch the interviews that these boys do, they keep calling it a pure show because it's like a high school coming of age and like they're not going to be banging. And so that's the sweetness of this show, is that each couple has chemistry, even though the other couple is kind of like more mature because one of them is like older and there's like kind of more grit to it. I feel like there's a sweetness and a romance to both of them without an aggressive like spiciness.
It's also, and besides the lack of spice in a good way, there's also a lack of like, how do I explain this? A lack of intensity that some shows, right, when you're dealing with, right, because you mentioned that the set, I guess they're like technically the second couple.
Yeah.
Although it very much feels like two main couples, right? Yep. But I guess they're technically the second couple. There's some like heavy stuff going on there, like particularly with like the boyfriend and like Ray and his situation.
Yeah.
And so like there's some heaviness to it, but without it feeling overly intense, if that makes sense. So like I have described this show before as like it gives a lot of like your name engraved herein vibes, but like the happy side of it, right? If it was a warm, happy, fuzzy ending, like
your name engraved herein is not even close to it.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like two very, very, very different things, but like the vibes and like the feel of it, I feel like is very, very similar.
That makes sense. That's what I love about Taiwanese shows, because this also reminds me of Innocent. And I feel like Make Our Days Count was the same way, where like you feel like the set is a part of the show.
Yeah.
It very much like there's a groundingness to it. There's not like a fuzzy like studio feel to these shows.
Right.
Like you really feel like you're
there
in that place
Yeah.
in whatever setting it is, even if it's like,
and it doesn't feel like they've like roped it off or something, because like especially in like, I will say, look, 10 out of 10, I love a good Thai college drama. Like I know it's tired and whatever, but like I love a good Thai university drama. And like it always, I feel like you can always tell that like it's not like, it doesn't look like those are the actual students. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Like, it feels like they, like, roped off that section of campus and, like,
Yeah.
you know, the actual students are there versus, like, in Taiwanese dramas, very much like wherever they are, you feel like those are just, like, real people.
You're getting a snapshot of a show of a person's life.
Yeah.
There's a groundedness and an authenticity to Taiwanese shows that like you just don't get anywhere else, which is fun. So speaking of the second couple, I thought their storyline was so interesting because I think what it reminds me of, and I told you this before, like what it reminds me of, because for a moment when we get the development of kind of who these two guys are and what they're going to be to each other, you see the start, like you get introduced to Ray Ray and he has this relationship with this guy. And this guy very much is like, I want you to wear the outfit I picked out for you. And Ray Ray's like, look at the lipstick you bought me. And like, I'm wearing this because of what you want. And so when he stops wearing the women's clothing, I was like, wait, what are we doing here? Like, what exactly is this transition? And it reminded me a lot of Itse when O has that moment where he puts on the bra.
Right.
And he's like, I want to be to this man what he wants
because I want him.
Yes.
I want him and I want him to want me.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's that moment where it's like, oh my gosh, like it really hits you that like
I sobbed during that It's a scene. Like, I was like ugly crying.
And so I think it's really sweet because you see Anjian come in and be to Ray Ray what he needs in whatever moment he's in, right? Like when he's
what in the Twilight imprinting.
It's true. Because because when he meets him in that cafe and he orders the cake and he runs after him to give him the cake, like this boy is shoving food in his mouth and he's like, yeah. He's like, please don't choke, but I'll be here to pat you on the back if like you do choke, and like I'll take care of you. Like he takes the box back, and like when he goes to like dismantle the motorbike, he's like, here's the tools. Like every time Ray Ray's having like a crisis or a moment, this other boy is like, I will be here for you. I will walk you through it. Like he's very much a supportive, like wiser, older, more mature. Like
yeah, like definitely in the beginning, I will say it felt a lot like a mentor, or like I don't love describing it this way because it's not exactly this, but like an older brother sort of like an older supportive, like this is like you're gonna get to the other side of this kind of person. Like, look, I like this is what the other side could be for you, right? Like that kind of thing. Because of course, then it does transform. And I do think that like that sort of beginning is what has a hand in why he's like, whoa, right? Like when he first is like, I don't want to kiss you, but like I do want to be with you, right? Like that whole situation. Because I think that he too knows that like the dynamic of their relationship is that like he is this supportive older person who is more of like a role model than anything else. And I think that he's having like two crises of conscious there. I think that like on one hand, he is like, okay, am I actually feeling something for this boy, or do we just have a close relationship, right? Like, am I misunderstanding? Am I reading into my own feelings, basically, right? Like, am I misinterpreting my own fondness for this boy and like putting a romantic spin on it? And so, like, I think that he's having that moment of like he wants to be sure because again, he knows what Ray Ray is coming out of, right? And so, like, he wants to make sure that like, wait, is this actually a thing that like I'm actually feeling? And then on the other hand, I think that just because of who he is as a character, and you see this in all his interactions with him up until this point, that like you said, he's very supportive and he's like, I will be here for you where you need it. And I think he's having this moment of like, if this becomes something different and then I'm no longer that person for Ray Ray, how will that affect him?
Right.
And I think he's like, I don't know if that's the right choice to make, because he also, just as Ray Ray kind of like sees him as this older, wiser, whatever person, like I think he understands the power that he has because of that. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Kind of like that time that I like analyzed Gen Y2 and I was like, you guys, it's a masterpiece. Like,
that's what I love about this show, is that like you can read that far into it, because like these characters give you so much with so little.
Right.
Like you truly can be like, he really cares for him and he wants the best for him. And so he's afraid that if he becomes this like essentially takes the role of this other guy, right? Like he's thinking the last relationship that Ray Ray was in was a very toxic, very awful relationship, and he doesn't want to be associated with that.
Right.
And so that makes sense that he would be like, okay, can I be for this boy what he wants from me in this situation? Like, am I really ready to commit to this situation? And when he realizes it, he immediately goes to Ray Ray and is like, no, like I really want to do this.
He's like, I figured this out.
Yeah, he's like, I'm on board. And so I also love like the communication in the show. It starts in the first episode where you see Ray Ray talking to Yi Gong about the toxic boy. Like they're very honest friends, and I like their friendship, because we love Friends. These friends are awesome because they're so different.
I have a favorite friend in the Beals.
Oh no, I've opened a door. Well, we've hit our You're My Sky check. We've hit our bonus check. Now we must talk.
It's the golden friend.
God
play super. Truly, if you think about it, like in Gen Y2, oh my God.
The friend,
900 out of 10. Okay. Also, I recently rewatched The Moment I Need You and The Moment Since.
Cute.
Yeah, I watched it the other night. I was like, I want to see Bangtanity.
I mean, the show is excellent.
Yeah, and
did
I
we do a
rewatched
series Sunday on those?
Ooh, I don't know if we ever did.
We could wear our pawn shirts.
Oh my
God, be so cute.
Okay, no. So I recently rewatched The Moment I Need You, The Moment Since.
We should release that. We should release a whole Star Hunter series.
Isn't that what this whole month has been?
Chat, but like on our for our gang babies. We should just chat all the Star Hunter shows, like all
at once, all together. Are we gonna create a multiverse? We're gonna be like, you guys, they all connect. We're gonna have like red threads, like red yarn, like connecting them all.
Out of control.
No. So in The Moment I Need You, in The Moment Since, that show, you could potentially really hate those characters, and you could not like. What I like about Gad's character in that show is, again, like the first time around, I had like tunnel vision for Bangtanity the first time I watched that. And truly, just like when we interviewed them, I had tunnel vision for Bangtanity. I did not know anything that was happening around me, which I feel like if you watch that interview, it was very obvious. Like I fully was like singularly focused on this little ballroom dancing baby. And when I watched it around this time, I obviously was like paying attention to like the friends. And Gad's character particularly, because he wears this stupid hat.
What
a really bad hat.
You never eat alone.
And like his character in particular watches them like Pawn and Bangtaniteep's characters, like he's watching from the side, like kind of he's experiencing what you as a viewer are experiencing, and it's so funny. Like he's so effortlessly funny. He's a really talented actor, you guys. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, it's fine. About youth. Moving on. I don't know.
The other thing I love about Taiwanese dramas is how everybody's always friends with everybody else. Like they're all connected, right?
Yeah.
Like where one boy is in a band with the other boy, and then he happens to start dating one boy who's also friends with the other boy who also wants to start dating this boy.
Yes.
I just like that moment where they meet each other's boyfriends was so cute.
It's like, it's a big, like, not wingman situation, but like What do you call that?
I love that because it happens in Trapped. It happens in Make Our Days Count. Like it truly happens.
What is that where it's like serendipity? I guess so. That like they've come in because you see it with Andy and Kenny in Trapped.
Yeah.
Where like the only reason they've come into each other's lives is because of this like Kenny, of course, is a cop and he's working with this other cop, and the cop has fallen in love with this mafia boss who Andy is the assistant to, right? And so like they've come into each other's lives through like by chance. I don't know. I don't know if there's a word for that.
Here's the thing. I will say I have been friends with a lot of married couples and I have not gotten my boy.
I mean, you've also managed to make a lot of married couples get divorced.
No, that is not true.
So, like,
that's not true. Not that I've been friends with, just that I've worked for. Yeah. This is not, I have not, it has nothing to do with me. It was totally unrelated to me. I just happen to be working for people who get divorced. But, like, none of my friends have been divorced. And I have a lot of married friends at this point because I'm old. Thusly, I'd say, work on it.
I actually hand delivered one to you, and like this is not the time or place for this conversation.
Okay, the other thing I love about this show, going back to the chemistry, is that we get a pinky touch.
We do, and it's so pure. It's the most pure pinky. I would say it's only second in pureness to the Tale of a Thousand Stars pinky touch.
I was gonna say there's nothing pure about Junmai Katong Fa pinky touch. Not even there's nothing pure about Dobin V like ever.
Why would you bring that up to me right now? Why would you bring that up in this moment? No, ma'am. How dare you? I'll never forgive you for this. No. No. The About You's pinky touch shouldn't even be mentioned in the same breath as that You're My Scheduled My Katong Fa pinky touch. How dare?
I mean, they're all great pinky touches and give such different meanings.
You know who also had a great pinky touch? Bad Buddy. The under the table, like that situation. Yeah, it's very sweet.
Man, every single pinky touch has such like different meanings.
Yeah,
the pinky touches.
The pinky touch.
This was sweet because it was like there was no night caressing.
Thank God. I have a deeply rooted hatred of the night caressing. It all started with Tarn Type, and I feel like that's all I need to say.
It's true. I was watching a show recently, and the boy stopped himself from night caressing, and I was like, "Oh my God, Ayla would love this show. Ayla would be so proud."
Listen. It's so weird. It's so weird for so many reasons. Because first of all, like the violation, because it's done in the spirit of like I hope like
adoration.
No.
It's romantic. There's definitely some romantic.
It's not romantic. It's creepy. It's weird. No matter what way
there's romantic intentions behind it.
No,
like I want to touch this person that I like.
It's a violation. The intentions behind it are like I'm gonna invade their space, and they're never gonna know about it because like they're asleep and this is a secret.
What is the meaning behind a night caress? I feel like it's just adoration. It's like, I love this person so much that I want to touch them.
Without their consent or knowledge? No.
Yeah, we definitely need consent. But, like, I think there's an innocence to it. Like, there's... there is an innocence to this one. Thank God. And it's just so sweet because, like, this is the moment where... this is the moment where you really realize that there's like a deep love that Ji-Gung has for Yi-Gang, that he's like he doesn't just like this guy as a friend, like he's not just there for this fun friendship that they have, that he like really has fallen for him, and that he's like, oh, love at first sight, right? Because like in this moment they've kind of, it's led up to this is the first like intimate interaction that we get from them. And it's just like, it's just a wholesome and pure moment that's like,
yeah. So what, like speaking of, because then like you got my brain thinking, what about okay, I have two scenarios for you because
no.
I actually don't know how I feel about this.
Okay.
And I clearly have very strong feelings about the night caress. What about the sleep, but I'm not asleep kiss? So like we've seen this recently in spoilers, the eclipse. And we're not going to tell you who or when, but so there's that. But then there's also the viral one, which I have not watched this show yet, but like I need to, and it's on my list, and I'm definitely going to. My matchmate. It went super viral. Like I have seen that kiss more than I've seen probably anything in End of Love, and I rewatch that show all the time.
That my matchmate one was incredible.
So, but that's the thing is like,
but they were
creepy. No,
they were drunk. They were drunk. They weren't sleeping. They were like drunk, passing out.
In my matchmate.
Yeah, I think so.
But they were both conscious.
Yeah.
They were both conscious.
Were they drunk? I can't remember. Anyways,
because
it doesn't matter.
In the eclipse, they're both pretending to be asleep, but like they don't know that each other is pretending to be asleep.
I think it's sweet because there is like a reciprocation of the kiss, like the indication
they
that we're both
kiss
awake.
Back.
Yes,
right. That's true.
That's true. That's the key. In the night caressing, there's no reciprocation.
Right. There's
like no confirmation and consent. Whereas I feel like there's and this gets real gray, but like,
yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
In the innocence of like a night kiss, as someone who has been to many a church lock-in and been to and fallen asleep beside many a boy that I like and have had momentary night kisses, I feel like, yeah, there's some type of engagement and like reciprocation of the kiss,
and you're both awake,
right?
So like those two examples, they were both conscious,
right?
Everyone involved was conscious,
because that begs the question.
But like the question is intention.
Do you always ask if you can kiss a person?
That's a really good question. I think that like again, as evidenced in the eclipse, maybe you should, but also as just like a person with life experience.
I do love those moments because we saw it in the eclipse too, and it was also in Semantic Error where he's like, "I'm gonna kiss you,"
right?
And
if you don't want me to stop, tell me. Yeah.
We also saw it. Oh my god, this is gonna make me so emotional. In Don't Say No with Smart and James, where he was like, "I'm gonna kiss you."
Oh
and
yeah,
like,
so
if you
good.
hate it, and he's like, "I don't hate it."
Oh, so good. Okay.
Me mind why? Give us Smart James.
Second scenario. Do we hate or how do we feel about like? I don't even know what you call this. It's not exactly night caressing, but it's in the same like realm.
Okay.
Of like, okay, so an example of this would be like in Not Me when Sean and White, who he thinks is black at the time, have to share a room, right? When he's gone to move into the garage / political activism den.
I know exactly where you're going with that.
And
because this showed up in Love in the Air just recently.
They like
he thinks he's a pillow, essentially,
or lies about thinking he's a pillow. Like
right.
This whole situation.
We get this in Love in the Air early on, where he like the one who's like, "I don't want you to touch me," rolls over and like and like body pillows the other one, and the other one like holds him. And
you see, so it's an interesting scenario because he like
where the aggressor is the one sleeping, right? Usually the aggressor is the one sleeping and body pillowing the other boy, and the other boy is like, yeah, I want to do this,
right?
And
but the one that rolls over is asleep,
right.
And if he were conscious,
he would not
be into it. So like, how do we feel about that?
I feel like if there's nothing inappropriate.
But isn't the physical touch of it where this person, if they were conscious, would not want to be in this position with you? Is there something on the person that hugs him and holds him and like you always see this like deep, like this smile or whatever?
Right.
Is it on them to like roll them over and be like, "Hey, I know that if you were conscious, like you would not be into you would not actually want to be doing this."
Okay, I'm gonna get real controversial. The question is, would they be in the bed in the first place if they didn't really want it?
Okay.
Right, because like that's the insinuation.
First of all, like yes, because that's where they're sleeping, like in the like not Michonne white/black situation.
Right. Yes, that
like
yes.
Yeah, he'd be in the bed, and he's like has made it very clear he's not happy about being in that bed. But like, where else is he gonna sleep?
He sleep on the floor.
But like, he's not gonna do that.
Right.
So
I think
like,
in BL world, that's my argument. In real world, like make the other person sleep on the floor, or like don't be in the same bed because like you might night hug someone and hopefully they won't be awful people. But like in BLs, the implication is like, oh, they got in bed with you and they're body pillowing
this
you.
feels very victim blaming, and I don't love it for you.
I don't either, but I feel like in BL world, like that's the implication, right? Like they got in the bed, so there's like a little bit of like stirrings. Like that's where it always starts, is the stirrings. They're like, okay, I trust this person enough that I'm gonna lay in bed with them and hope that they do nothing inappropriate. Right. I think that's the key, is that they've done nothing inappropriate because like I've body pillowed this person. And I feel like sometimes you see them try to push the other one off and like they hold on tighter. Doesn't that happen in Not Me, where he tries to push him off and he like gets tight? He gets.
There are a few
tighter.
of these like night hugging situations.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just like it's very interesting. It's just a very interesting trope that like it's like that, like how are you supposed to feel about it, and how should you actually, like, how do they want you to feel about it versus how should you actually feel about it?
Right.
Because the night caressing should be like a hard no for everyone.
Yeah. True. I mean, listen, there are more problematic things in BLs that I probably would like die on a hill for. Sleep body pillowing another boy is okay in my book at this point. There's a hierarchy. Some things you just got to deal with to see cute interactions between boys. Anyways, about youth, the most unproblematic BL. There's nothing problematic in the show.
Yeah, I don't think it's yeah.
I feel like they handle every situation. Like they even show like a toxic relationship, and I thought they handled it really well. Like
right,
they show
it without romanticizing it.
Yeah,
they show it and make it very clear that like this ain't it, y'all.
Even this May December romance that we've been talking about with like the bandmate and the high school boy.
Although let's be honest, it's not really May December. Like
I
never love, like, it's always
there's no indication of exactly how
old he is, right? But like I have a really hard time, for example, with I can't remember their character names in Make Our Days Count, the second couple. I actually do have a really hard time with that one because he's in high school.
Right.
He's straight up in high school.
You know, it's funny. Also in Make Our Days Count, the other boy works in a cafe.
Yeah.
I mean, he owns the cafe. But like, they do love, oh my gosh, except for Trapped, has most Taiwanese BLs had one boy that worked in a cafe? In Beloved in House I Do, one of the boys worked in a cafe.
Mm-hmm.
In Make Our Days Count, one of the boys worked in a cafe.
We Best Love, no one works in a cafe.
Right, because they go from being
students,
college
and
students to
we're
businessmen.
like professionals.
Businessmen.
Yeah.
Who was the second couple? Oh, my bad. They worked in like a somebody in that show did work in like a seafood restaurant. Worked in a restaurant.
And We Best Love?
It was Evan? No, it's the other second couple with
so he owns like a seafood restaurant. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because Richard and Evan are like
the doctor.
The sidekick.
Yeah.
So yeah, anyways, Taiwanese BLs love a
I do tend to have a hard time, especially when the boy's in high school.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not necessarily averse to a May December situation. I'm averse to it when one of the kids is in high school.
Right.
That's when I have a problem with it.
Yeah. Yeah, they don't explain how old in real life. All of the actors were 19 years old except for Anjian, who's
But
like 28.
what we do know is that the older boy is out of high school. Now, I mean, if he's like whatever, like a college freshman or something, like
Right.
I don't know, because it's explained that these are like older high school kids, right? We're
Yeah.
not talking about freshmen.
Right. Yi Gang clearly says he's 18 years old.
Yeah. So like we're not talking about freshmen here.
Right.
So like I do like on just like a personal level, like I do think that's a little bit different if you're talking about like kids who potentially like went to school together and
Right.
then one of them, like some of them graduated.
Right.
Like I do think that's a different situation.
Yes, yes.
But yeah.
But yeah, I think each couple had such an interesting dynamic, and I feel like again, you can just like you relate and like feel for every single character in such different ways that like I was fully invested in every character. Like there have been some shows where I'm watching a show and I'm like, I'm only watching it for the second couple. And
Right.
or I'm only watching it for the first couple. Like I'm gonna fast forward through the second couple. Like I was fully interested and fully invested in each character in this show.
Again, I feel like this one is, I know that it's supposed to be like a lead couple and a secondary couple, but I feel like this was very similar to You're My Sky, Ju My Katangpa, that had two main couples and then a problem.
Yes. Accurate.
And so like I feel like this was very similar in that like to me I was like everyone's a headliner.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what other. I love the cameo by Wilson from Make Our Days Count. Even though now I'm pretty sure he's like in his 30s.
I mean, I love that for him.
Schooler.
Keep working. Off jump pull it.
I love the random English that we get in shows.
Always.
It's truly hilarious.
Yeah.
I want to be that foreigner in like an Asian country that they're like, hey, can you come say some English lines?
Hey, Farang.
Yeah, truly. That would be the dream. That's my next dream. Thailand, hire me.
Just the country of Thailand. The country of Thailand.
I mean, truly, I feel like if we're in Singapore when they start filming Summer Days, we could get a cameo.
I know. Telescope. Call me.
We know nothing. I wish we knew when that show.
I know. Truly, we know nothing. This is not us being coy. Like, I have no idea about anything ever.
We are just as excited as everybody else.
Yeah.
About Youth, highly recommend.
About Youth.
There's just again, the more that I think about this show and the more that I like talk about this show, the more the dynamics in this show were so interesting. The chemistry was excellent. I feel like the dynamic of that main couple, like it's so vivid in my head of like how like what a sweet back and forth they had.
Yeah.
Of like, I will be for you what you need from me in this moment, and you will be for me what I need in that moment. Like, and there's such different characters struggling with such different things, but there's validity to each of their struggles, and they allow each other to have those hardships without minimizing them.
Right.
And I think that's important to see, because so often, and I am guilty of this, where like I'll minimize my own struggle, or we very typically, like psychologically, we minimize other people's struggle because we're like, oh, my life is so much harder. Like they have it so much easier than I do. And to see these characters who have very different lifestyles, and it would be so easy for Ji Gang to minimize Yi Gang's
because of
struggle.
Yeah.
But there's validity in both of their struggles, and I just think there's a sweetness, especially when he's on the phone crying to his parent, like a video with his parents, and like that's just such a sweet moment where it's like you just got to communicate the thing, and like it's not always going to be perfect, but like as long as you say it, like you'll get through it. And I think like that's a sweet moral of the story of like communication is key.
Right.
BL's take note.
I mean, BL. Yeah.
Truly.
So like on a fun note, I mean, this whole show actually is very warm and sweet. It's just like nice. Like it's a nice show to watch.
It ended and I was like, I feel so warm and fuzzy.
Yeah, like it's a nice show to watch. The band is also really good.
Yes, the music is so fun. The song, I remember seeing people be like, oh, this song is really fun and catchy.
Yeah.
I can like sing it even though I don't know any Chinese. I love you, and his songs are amazing, but like I can't sing to them.
No.
Well,
I can dance to Chris Wu's like old CPAP.
Do you know what I'm looking forward to? This new Tooth drama, because it has that incredible singer in it, and we're gonna get some good OSTs from that. I know. I love the stylizing of the songs in Taiwanese dramas because they always show the lyrics on the screen, and the lyrics to this song are really sweet.
Yeah, I mean, we've been getting so many bands and shows lately.
Yeah.
And just like in general, if you think about it.
Who would you want to see in concert?
All of them, everyone. I mean, okay, so we have this band, we have the Coffee Melody Band, we have
who are incredible,
who are actually so good.
Bless.
And you never get tired of that song. You hear it 800 million times once they actually sing it,
and it's so good.
It's so good. Who else do you have? You have the high school band in Bad Buddy.
I mean,
the Omna Nun Band.
The
Omna Nun Band. You have
live one day.
Who else do you have?
The Best Story.
The Best Story. Yes, that's the whole point of the show.
Bonds. Who is Bonds? And it was his singer?
No, he plays guitar. No, how dare you?
War.
War is the lead singer. How dare you?
So sorry.
How dare you? First of all, second of all, also, yes, the Best Story Band is actually iconic because it was Bonds' introduction to BL. And like we have this like eye contact talk about longing looks. Literally, those boys throughout that whole show don't even speak to each other.
Yes, give me that show now.
They literally don't even speak to each other, but they look at each other. One of them's on a stage and one of them's in the crowd, and they look at each other and you're like, they're married. Fully, you see it happen and you're like, they're married now. I don't know what to tell you. I don't make the rules.
Here's the magic of Yin War, Prom, and Bonds is that they truly, the four of them, have created these like ships in BL that are the craziest things that like you had Prom and Mark, who people shipped these two boys before they even met. And then you have Bonds and Win, who literally had a longing look across the way.
Like they're like 50 yards apart and you look at them on that screen. They're literally not even the same frame. You have to go from Bonds in one frame to Win in the other frame. And you're like, they're married now.
And then
I don't know what to tell you.
And then we got Crumbs and Love Mechanics from Bonds and Win. And I'm like, give me that show now.
Yeah. Okay, so we have them
together.
Bright and together. I mean, truly, if I'm saying like, who do I want to watch? Listen. Say what you're going to say about Brightwin performing. And I have Twitter, so I know what you're going to say.
Yeah.
Like, I'm on Twitter. Listen, I read the tweets.
We saw Bright perform.
I saw Brightwin perform. And when I tell you, they are solid performers. I would pay money to watch them perform any day of the week. Truly, Bright knows how to perform. And again, say what you're going to say about them because I have Twitter and I know what you think you know about Bright and Win as performers.
Yeah.
But I was there. I was in that room and Bright is an incredible performer. Oh my God. He was the only person that had people stand up at that whole damn 18-hour concert. It was like 900 hours long. Literally, I was in that venue for 4 days straight. I don't know. That concert was so long.
It was incredible.
I was in pain. By the time, time by the time Bright and Win were on that stage, I was like in pain from being just like in this chair for like 82 hours. I was about to like saw my own arm off. Like, I don't know.
Especially for the K-drama that we got with Chris Singh.
Oh my God. And so like, and then Bright, first of all, they're so entertaining that I forgot I was in pain anymore. Right. And then Bright is like, stand up. And I was like, and in that moment, I was like, this man is an angel. I was like, he was sent from heaven to soothe me. But I mean, Bonus Tanadek is okay.
Whoa. How dare you?
Has SB5 ever has SB5 ever actually been an SB5 in a show? Like, have they been a performers?
I don't think so. They've like all been in shows together,
but not like
I don't
performers.
think I mean, They were in Superboy.
Right, does Superboy count? But Superboy's not a BL. Well, if you watch that Superboy finale, it's low-key a BL.
I need to talk to KO. KO.
Honestly, Kun O is my personal hero.
When truly, okay, here's the thing. During Superboy, they reference like creating a BL for, I want to say Bankbo.
Because Bankbo, honestly,
because like genius Bankbo being like, yeah, we want to sing together, but like the chemistry.
No.
Talk about
what happened
boys.
Is I don't want to spoil it. I feel like we need to do a Superboy episode because when there are things that went down in Superboy that I thought I knew it was going to go down in Superboy, and there were things that went down in Superboy that I was like truly like shocked, and I was truly delighted.
Us if you want a Superboy series Sunday,
everyone's gonna be like, please God, no.
Should we? I feel like we should.
Please God, never say the name God on this podcast ever again.
I feel like we should just do a variety show series Sunday because we talked about Q Boy and Superboy, and like we've found that a lot of these boys are in To Be Number One.
Yes, To Be Number One is also iconic. They make them do the weirdest challenges.
Yeah, we still haven't. I haven't watched an episode of To Be Number One.
I watched all of Sia's season.
Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Is it on TV?
I mean, it's on YouTube, but I don't know where it originally aired.
I was gonna say because To Be Number One feels like a mall show.
I don't know. Like I watched,
but it's on TV.
Maybe,
or like it was like
it's filmed for something.
Yes, that's what I was getting.
It's filmed. There are cameras.
It's not like a fan cam of like a mall.
No. It's actual filming.
But they film in a mall, don't they?
I mean, they film like all over.
Okay.
There's like a bunch of locations. There's a lot of like. It's essentially like the premise of the show is like teaching them how to be idols, and then they go and have these like competitions, and you like, and then there's a number one idol that is chosen. One of them is the number one idol.
Cute.
Yeah.
Tora was 8th.
I want to 16th. I really, or 6, something with a 6. I really do want to watch Tora's season though, because the sweet little bodyguard boy from Big JJ? Dragon. No. Fong.
Yeah.
No, JJ?
Oh no.
I can't remember which one now. No, it's Fong. It's definitely Fong. Was in the same To Be Number One group as Tora. And so I really want to watch it. Because you got 2 Star Hunter prodigies.
But truly, y'all, Bankbo are a study in chemistry because
you know what I feel like we need? On the subject of bands, you know how back in the day, I mean, I say back in the day, like the early 2000s. So for me, I was like a youngin' in the early 2000s. There were all of these.
Chris Strickland was being thought of.
How dare
they were planning?
I was a youth. I was a youngin. Back in the early 2000s, and I remember there were like all these movies that were coming out like about bands. They were almost like mockumentaries, but not really a mockumentary. It was like they were like actual dramas, right? Like the one that the Click 5 was in, for example. A shout out if anybody
or S Club 7.
If anyone was like a boardie, and if you know that word, hit me up.
S Club
where
7.
They had this like movie
O-Town.
Oh yeah, they had this movie, and it was like, well, no, it wasn't. So what I'm talking about is the movies that they would make for these musical groups where it was like a plot line. So like the Click 5 one, like Christy Carlson Romano was in it, and they like there's like an actual plot line to it. It's not like a documentary, it's like an actual plot line to it.
Are they a band in the movie?
Yes, that's what I'm saying, is like they're a band in the movie, and there's like
this isn't like a Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen situation.
No, it's like they're a band in the movie, and they're like there's like a story around it, right? So like in the Click 5 one, they like this girl like kidnaps them she kidnaps the Click 5. It's a whole thing.
I feel like the Jonas Brothers.
It's like so School of Rock, or not School of Rock. Camp Rock. Yeah. So Camp Rock is a good example of this.
That is such a good song.
Yeah. Camp Rock is a good example of this. Also from my youth. We are talking about my youth now. Camp Rock was my youth. Yeah, so that kind of thing. I feel like we need that. We need Camp Rock,
but SV5
but Element.
Actually, we need SV5 and Element to like do. Although RIP SV5, now it's just
BKC.
Listen, I will take BKC over
I would die for BKC. I'd die for Baz.
Truly, when we walked into MBK and saw BKC
I
on
screeched
the
because you didn't see them at first.
No.
I saw them first, and I literally
at first I was like, "Are they here?" Where
I
are they?
literally
And then they were, like, on the
screeched,
wall.
and I couldn't say words, and I just started running and pointing. Like my soul left my body, and it was literally just a picture of them on a wall. I literally saw Baz's face on a wall, and like my soul left my body, and like I couldn't make words.
We screamed SB5 so much in Thailand.
So much SB5. No, but I feel like we need that. But like,
SB5, y'all, if you love SB5, SB5 is alive and well in Bangkok.
I mean, if you go to MBK, but which, like, you know, as we've already established, bury me at MBK.
It's the land of our dreams.
It's the land. It's the land of your people. No, this is MBK.
Oh my God. Oh, Lord of mercy, we have ventured so far away from About You. This is what happens when you're on number 4 of Mike's Hard.
Oh, bands.
What concert would you go to?
Right, of BL bands.
I mean, none.
None.
That Bad Buddy.
That the little high school Bad Buddy.
Who else was in that band?
In high school, you know who? Dunk Nada Chai.
Huge. Oh, y'all, what I would give to go to that camping concert.
I know it's literally happening as we're talking right now. I saw it on Pooin's story. And I was like,
after Love Out Loud, truly GMMTV can put on a concert.
I know.
Here's the thing. I don't love all the pillars. Breaking news.
Well, there's only 3 now. One has broken up officially. They did it in front of the whole world.
They are still having their one last like.
Literally, you and I were in the same room with them when they were like,
yeah, but they're
when
still,
they were like,
still
this is the last thing we'll ever do together.
But
and
they
this
lied.
was an excellent
They're going to
journey.
Japan.
Okay.
They're about to go do a concert in Japan.
Okay. I feel like if you ask Singto this question, you're gonna get a different answer.
I feel like Singto will do anything.
I mean, shout out, get that bag.
True.
But yeah, you can also get this bag. You're wondering. Not sponsored.
Not sponsored. Bonus sponsor us.
Just kidding. I support your collection.
Okay. I feel like. What concert would you go see?
Out of all the, I mean, whatever band was from the Best Story, because you got Bon and War on and Pratt. Pratt was in that band too. Yeah, you got all of them on a stage. Yes.
I can't wait for
sign me up.
I can't wait for all the rookie shows. There's still so many shows yet to come. The GMMTV 2023 announcement is a month away.
I'm so excited.
My brain is broken.
And we know nothing. Half the time people think we know something special, but like honestly, like we get these DMs where people are like, but what do you know? And I'm like, I don't know anything. Literally when we were at GMMTV, I tried to peer pressure someone into telling us, and like that didn't work. So like
we talked to someone who like
controls things. And I tried to peer pressure.
They were like, you're cute.
They were like, cute.
We tried. We try all the time. We try so hard.
I try so hard at so many things.
Do you think there will be an episode that we just cry?
I've already cried on episodes.
No. You've teared up.
I cried over Gunsmile. There's like you watch that footage back.
Teared up, but like you haven't cried. You haven't had a moment where you're like crying. There's a difference between like tearing up talking about something and like crying.
I don't know if we ever get Yin War. Truly, like, God help us all. God help us all.
I mean, there were moments when we were talking to Neo Louie that I was like, I don't think I'm going to survive this. Stay tuned for our Neo Louie interview. You're not ready.
You're not ready. No one's ready. I forgot that hasn't come out yet.
If you've made it this far into this episode, we're going to give you some behind the scenes information. There were a lot of technical difficulties, so it's not super long. However,
it's a decent length. We have episodes that are shorter. You are very focused on the length of this episode.
I am, because I like Neo Louie. But y'all,
it is a decent length. You
is
will
a
enjoy the
gem.
length. The length is not a super short length. It's fine.
It is a gem of an interview.
I edited it. You get the thing you need from it, is what I'll tell you. You get the thing you need from it.
Well, you can't buy our merch anymore.
No, our merch is gone.
But you can buy bonuses.
You can buy this merch. You know who does have merch? Bonus Canada.
And it's on sale right now.
It's on sale right now.
490 baht.
Also, it's very reasonably priced, even when it's not on sale.
We've turned into QVC. We've turned into Shopee. Actually, I guess that's the more relevant reference. Because, like, if you don't live in the States, tell us, do you have a home shopping network, like a TV channel on the television where they sell things and they have people come in and they're like, buy this product? Similar to what the BL Boys do on like Shopee.
Okay, the sale was only on 10/10. I'm so sorry.
Sad.
You've lost your opportunity to get the bags for 490 baht. But that being said, they're still very reasonably priced at 590 baht, especially for the quality. But then tell the people about the quality of the BNY bags.
No, I'm still curious if the people have home shopping networks in other countries.
I'm sure they do.
Question, is Shopee only online or is Shopee on a TV channel in Thailand?
I don't know. 590 baht is $15.42 US. That is cheaper than any bag you're going to buy anywhere else. And even if you add in the international shipping, which like, isn't even that bad.
Yes.
It will probably be similar, if not less, than other bags that you have bought. And the quality, like this is like some thick canvas. Also, it comes in 2 colorways. Bonus, I support your collection. You have this like wonderful white on navy, but then you also have a navy on white, and that's one that Gad carries. And I'm not gonna lie to you, we definitely bought one, and I think I'm potentially might keep it. Because I need 2. And you also should need 2.
This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL. Bye.